Hi, I'm Dr. Trace Curry, and let's talk about insurance and financial issues. Obesity coverage in the United States is not determined by an insurance company typically. Usually it's determined by the employer. The employer decides when they purchase a policy for their employees if they're going to buy one that covers weight loss surgery or not. So some smaller companies especially do not offer weight loss surgery as an option. It's an exclusion in their policy. But there are many larger employers that do realize the benefit of helping patients that are employees get rid of their diabetes and their sleep apnea and other medical issues, and they do cover these surgeries. You can see a list here of some of the larger companies around Cincinnati and Ohio that do cover bariatric surgery as of the time this slideshow was made. But this list does change frequently, so if you don't see your company here, if you're not sure if you have it or not, we can help you verify your benefits to find out whether coverage exists or not. With regard to Medicare and Medicaid, Medicare does cover surgery if you meet their criteria, and our patient service representatives can talk to you about your specific case to let you know if you qualify or not. Medicaid is a little more difficult. Some Medicaid products do cover it, some don't. Almost all of them require a 9 or a 12-month supervised diet prior to approval of surgery. So you're going to have a little bit of work in store before you can get approved and have surgery, but it is potentially possible. With regard to network issues, we are in network with most all major insurers throughout the state of Ohio. And we do have a unique in-network situation for our surgery center, Journey Light of Cincinnati, for Aetna and Humana patients who are getting band or sleeves. We have a 2-year no-cost office care program for patients who meet these criteria and have these payers. So that means that after surgery, if you have Aetna or Humana and you have a band or a sleeve at Journey Light, you don't have to pay for any of your office visits. You don't even have to pay a copay for 2 years after surgery. So this is going to lead to better outcomes for patients with this type of scenario because the more aftercare you get after surgery, the better you're going to do. So I want to talk just for a brief moment about why you would want to come to us, why in some patients for out-of-town patients, you might want to travel to Cincinnati for surgery. We get patients from all over the country that travel to our center for surgery for a multitude of reasons. We have a patient from Alaska, we have patients from Bermuda, patients from everywhere. And what is the reason that they come to Cincinnati? It's primarily for our experience, our results, our quality, and our low complication rates. One of the biggest reasons that patients say that they come to us is because of our team, because many of our team members are also patients, and our support that they get after surgery, both in person and online. There's also tremendous potential cost savings for self-pay patients. Many times I'll see patients who maybe come from several states away for a gastric sleeve, and they say, yeah, I looked in my hometown, but it was $30,000 for the operation, and your price was significantly less, so I decided to make the trip. Also, with regard to our aftercare programs, which we'll talk a little bit more about, but we also mentioned the Aetna and the Humana plans. If you ever thought about the fact that you have surgery, but your company drops surgical weight loss coverage a few months later, with this, you have the security blanket there of a 2-year of aftercare in the office after the procedure. And also, as I mentioned, your success rate will be better if the regular post-op appointments are kept. Now we'll talk briefly about what your options are if you're interested in surgery, but you know that your insurance does not cover the operation, which is what we call an exclusion on your policy. If you think about the cost of obesity, it really can be quite tremendous for some patients. And there have been some studies that show that for some folks, it can be over $18,000 a year just due to expenses that are related to obesity. Now, some of these costs that are on this list here may be borne by the employer or by the patient's insurance company, but just to point out that overall, obesity is not a cheap disease to treat. So let's just look at a simple cost of living analysis here. Let's say prior to surgery, a patient spends $10 a day on food. That's pretty easy to do. After surgery, it's estimated that patients spend less than half, so that would reduce the daily food cost from 10 to 5, resulting in a monthly savings of $150 a month just in food. I just chose this easy example here because this happened to me personally. I used to have to take Nexium, which cost about $100 a month, and then after I got a lap band, I was able to come off my Nexium. So just in this simple example here, for me, when I got my band, I saved $250 a month roughly in food and medication expenses. So if you finance one of these procedures with CareCredit, when I did the online calculation, it came out to be roughly around $300 a month. So you see that the savings is pretty close to the expense of financing the operation. So you're almost getting a free procedure, but instead of spending the money on food and medicine that's not making you any healthier, you're investing the money in the operation, which in some cases might save your life. Here are the costs of the operations that we offer for our self-pay patients. Just to note that these are primary operations, so not revisional procedures, and these prices are for our surgery center, Journey Light. All of these prices include the surgeon's fee, surgery, and anesthesia fees. They also all include 1 year of band adjustments, as many as you need, or 1 year of as many office follow-up appointments as you need if you're a sleeve or bypass patient. This also includes regular dietary counseling from our registered dietitians, and our team really offers our patients 24/7 support. Patients who pursue a self-pay option for bariatric surgery will usually finance the procedure over a term from anywhere of 3 to 5 years. Possibilities include a home equity loan. Some patients will use credit cards so they can get the frequent flyer miles. Some patients will borrow against a 401k. And some patients will sometimes use a traditional finance company like CareCredit. We actually don't recommend CareCredit per se because there are a lot of extra charges that get charged to the patient from CareCredit, but we do have an option on our website, a partnership with Prosper Health Lending for our patients. All you have to do is go to our main homepage, loseweightcincy.com, and click on the financing option call out on the right-hand side of the page. And that will take you to the application page for Prosper Health. You can fill out an application online and get an answer very quickly as to whether you're approved. Some patients have success with GE Credit Union or Kemba, and you can see the info on the screen here. And the bottom line is you just have to check out multiple options to find out where you can get the best rate and the best plan that works for you. And if you're thinking about whether or not it's worth the money to spend this amount on a bariatric operation, I just want to point out that obesity is the leading preventable cause of death in the United States. Just a few years back, it surpassed smoking as the #1 preventable cause of death amongst adults in the United States. So this really is a serious disease process that we're talking about here that can potentially be life-threatening.